Hello and welcome everybody to a brand new episode of Bricks and Toys. Today we are going to be doing a Lego Star Wars buildable figure. And this is a actual tip of an iceberg or a mountain that's getting ready to really snowball. The buildable characters of Star Wars is starting to become more and more and more. As much as I would like to say, here is our buildable figure of the summer, and let's talk about it. Well, in just a few short weeks, we will have a couple more buildable figures. I think a K2SO and a Wicket, Warren the Wicket, coming up just in August. I hope your Lego shelves are not weeping for space because Lego is sending us a lot of buildable figures really quick in just a couple weeks time between July and August. But we are here today with the 12 and older set number 75428 Battle Droid with STAP with 1088 pieces. This is going to be the one that we are talking about today. I find it really odd that I even agreed to do this build because I don't like the way battle droids look. I get honestly offended when we get too many battle droid minifigures in a kit of any type. I like clone minifigures a lot more than I like battle droids, and so it's really interesting to actually be buying a buildable battle droid for myself. But I could tell you why I bought this set, even though I don't care for battle droids. I bought this set because it is a set that has to do with the original prequel trilogy. To me, that is super important when Lego is putting out these sets to actually be purchasing these sets. So basically, because Lego is putting out prequel and Clone Wars sets is why we are here. And you know what? Looking at it, I will have to say, I think Lego took a proper approach with this set, and let's kind of go over the box as I talk about why I think this might actually be kind of interesting and a good set from Lego. So it is a 12 and older set, so thus we do have the playstyle packaging with the greebled corner, with the slash. Of course, we kind of got like the Battlefield look from the Phantom Menace to, put the battle droid on and in front of, all imposed. We do have the Darth Vader logo down there, and then we do have a picture of the battle droid minifigure that comes with the set. Like I said earlier, I think we can do without the minifigures. I have too many, but it is what it is. Now, revisiting the set imposed on the box, I think this is going to be interesting because we just don't have the boring battle droid on the box. We actually have the STAP to go with it. So we get a really cool STAP build to strap our droid to, and I think that makes for a pretty tidy set. I think it's going to be a pretty okay set just with that alone. So this set does cost you about $139.99 here in the US. I could already say, just from looking at the box, this is definitely going to be one that you might want to wait out on until later, but I'll give a better opinion about that once I have the set built. For right now, we're just going off of first impressions. I'm excited to be here because, like I said earlier, we are celebrating more prequel era Clone Wars type sets, and I just want to vacuum all these up and put them onto my collection as much as possible. We are getting so many Clone Wars era sets in August. I can't wait to talk about that in a future video with you guys. And I plan on getting all of those too eventually. It's just awesome that Lego is giving us these sets, and that's why we got to do this one here today. Let's continue to take a look at this box. On the side of the box, we have our Do Not Eat It, more logos and all of that for the brand. On this side of the box, we have the Battle Droid himself just standing up with his blaster. And then we have Lego Star Wars up at the top. And at the top of the box, we got a country of origin, more logos, and a one-to-one of the Battle Droid minifigure. We don't need a one-to-one of the Battle Droid minifigure. We have too many as it is. Looking at the bottom of the box, we got recycling information, Lego.com, Lego app stuff, and Legal Eagles, and all of that good stuff. And then coming to the back of the box where we're going to get our meat and potatoes of today's build. So we have 3 pictures right there next to the picture that's imposed on the front of the box. Just from the picture imposed on the front of the box, we can see our battle droid strapped into our STAP with a STAP miniature build with our droid minifigure on a stand that looks to be printed like they all are nowadays. Going back to our 3 pictures, we have a interesting looking battle droid build, and then we have it to where it looks to go onto a stand, and then we have another picture from the back showing the battle droid holding on to the STAP. Pretty straightforward stuff. Overall, looks pretty cool, pretty okay. Like I said, not a big fan of battle droids. Let's open up this box and let's see what we have in terms of this build. So we're gonna have 2 punch tabs, 1 and 2. I think we can just open it up with 1 as we normally do. Okay, with our box open, you guys are getting the first look inside of the box. Doesn't feel like there's a lot of dead space. Let's do our pour now. We're gonna do our pour from the opposite direction. There we are. Not bad. Stickers did come out. Verify that's everything in the box. And let's get into it. So, first impressions, we have our sticker sheet, which honestly does not look that bad. We'll get to that in just a second. Again, we have a set that cost over $100 without an envelope for the book. If this thing gets jostled around, or if you just buy it to set on it forever and then you're going to sell it 20 years from now, this book will probably sustain some damages being loose in the box. Not everyone's going to build these things. So we got our book, and then we have our bags. I'm going to say we have 7 bags total to build this 1,088 piece set. Let's go ahead and get them counted out and see if that's true. So we got bag 1, bag 2, bag 3, and bag 4. We then have the stand at bag 5, bag 6, bag 7, bag 8, bag 9, and bag 10. So we have 10 bags total, so I really undersold that, but I guess we start by building the battle droid for the first 4 bags. We build the stand and display at bag number 5, and then 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10 is going to build the STAP. I don't know why, but I forgot that we had to build the dang STAP. If I would have remembered that we had to build the dang STAP, which is kind of the whole point of the build, that makes it interesting, I would have said more like, 9 bags, and would have been closer to 10 than saying just 7. Let's take a look at our sticker sheet. Now, I don't see the actual headpiece to the actual battle droid. So that is telling me that we do have printed elements within the kit somewhere. So that is good news. We do have 5 stickers total. That's what they look like. So it does look like we're going to have 2 stickers that's going to go on probably a 2x8 type plate. And then we're going to have a sticker that goes on a 2x2 plate and maybe a 1x3 type plate or a curved element, and then a 2x4 type piece for the number 1 sticker. Looking at our book, we can see it's exactly what we would expect for a 12 and older type set. We do get our QR code for our 20 points. I'm going to guess it's going to go straight into the build. Yes, indeedy, it does. So let's go to the back of the book. So we finish off this build with pretty much sticking our battle droid to the STAP itself with 473 steps and 184 pages. And everybody, that is our introduction to the battle droid and STAP. We've gone over everything. Also, I am noticing that the turbine 2x2 round pieces are also printed pieces. I don't see stickers for those either. So we don't got to center pieces on round elements. And if you guys build Lego, you guys know that that is a pain in the butt to do. So we don't have to do that, looks like. Well, guys, I'm going to take a couple days and I'm going to build this one. I'm going to enjoy it, savor it, and all of that, because I have not built a lot of Lego this month. Even though you guys are seeing videos almost every other day, I'm not doing videos every other day. A lot of the stuff you guys are seeing, I've planned ahead for. So I'm going to enjoy this Lego build. It's been a minute for me. And for you guys are going to see the review right now. So let's dive right on in with our review portion of today's video. And you know what, guys? I actually have a little bit to talk about with this one. It is pretty much a face value set. What you see is what you get. There's really nothing hidden inside. Everything that's inside is what it takes to build what you see on the outside. So no Easter eggs, nothing interesting, nothing kooky like that. This set does come all the way apart, which, you know what, I am not in the mood to get into today, and I'll explain why in a moment. Let's just go over our battle droid. First thing right off the rip, we have a printed head element, which is like a 2x4 rounded brick. I really like how they made that element printed. I think that came out really freaking nice. It really completes the head. You know what also completes the head? The part usage of these 2x2 modified rounded bricks. 2 of them put together here and here to really make that rounded head. With a little clip hinge type element. We can make that back portion of his head that goes on down. These guys were really simple in the CGI making of the prequel era movies, and thus, you know what, I think Lego really works to really recreate these, and I think it looks really cool. We do get our first sticker element right there on the chest, and going down into the arms, we start to see like gear components and stuff to make up the greebling of the arms. This is a 12 and older set, but I really get the vibe that it could have been a 18 and older adult set, but you know what? They wanted the kids to be a part of this one as well, which I think is really awesome. We do have really cool part usage right here on both sides of the arms to connect the, basically the back of the arm to the front of the arm, and having a little bit of an empty space. I think that looks really awesome. And then we do have clip mechanisms and stuff holding on the little fingers and holding on to the handlebars of the STAP itself. We do have full adjustability in the shoulder joint, as well as a up and down, basically a normal hinge of the, upper arm to the lower arm. And then we do have another ball joint for the hand, thus, full adjustability. Going back into the back here, we do have the same thing with the head with the ball joint, so full adjustability there, but not really too much adjustability with the neck. It does go forward and back. It just depends on how you want it. Looking at the backpack of the set, which is basically the communication pack or whatever you want to call it in the movie, we can see basically antenna elements, a wand element for another type of antenna, our neck sticker. Attached to that pack is the weapon, aka the blaster. Cool thing is, it does come apart to where you can put it in his hand if you wanted to take him off of the STAP. Going down into his torso, you can see more greebling effects. That's just for cosmetic. Lots of plate usage, angle usage, and tile usage. We can see that on both sides. And then going down to his lower torso, you can see more of the part usage, just really narrow pieces to really make that torso. Now, leaving his upper half of his body behind and going down into his lower half, we can see that we have a relatively, pretty okay pelvic area of the battle droid. More of those ball joints for full adjustability, along with those gears to make for the greebling. We do have a sticker on each side of the leg for his upper thigh. Then we have more of the gears, more ball joints for full adjustability, plating, tiling, and all of that good stuff. Ball joints going into the legs, into the feet for more full adjustability, and that is on both sides. They make this guy to where you can really pose him out and really do whatever you want with him besides sticking him to, well, the STAP. Now let's talk about the STAP. Coming up into the STAP, we're going to get the only sticker of the STAP right up here. Everything else is just reddish brown or dark reddish brown, whatever you want to call it. And it's just a lot of angling plates and stuff to make all of the angles. We do have some Technic arms to make basically the angle for the handlebars, and those are hidden behind all of these Lego plates and system parts. We do have the thrusters of the STAP, where it's narrow here in the front with these printed elements. Coming over here to the back, it's more wider with more printed elements right in the middle there. Now, coming on down, more curved elements all over the place and more plating, all in the same color. Not a lot to talk about here, folks, with this, because it is pretty much exactly what it looks like, and the parts are, well, what you would pretty much expect. There is adjustability with the pedals of the STAP, as you guys can see on both sides, which makes it really fun to get them up onto the STAP because, well, you got to adjust this, adjust that. Then you got to take the handlebars off to get them stuck to the arms, adjust. He is a lot of work to get him stuck, and that's why I'm not going to take him off of here because it's a pain in the ass. The back of the STAP is really modestly tiled off. You can't really see it because of the black base that is stuck to it. But this base does have these little clips that come out of it, and it does clip within, like, I think 3 different points to where the STAP just goes and locks into it. Now looking at the base is, well, exactly what you would expect for a base. I do find it a little bit wobbly, as you guys can see, with my hand on the table. A little bit of motion gives it a lot of motion, and when you have cats, the cats like to come by and kind of rub up on these little blaster parts of the STAP, and yeah, it gets a little shaky, literally. Now let's take a look at that stand and that minifigure. So here we have a miniature build of the STAP with a Droid minifigure. Like, we actually needed another one of these minifigures. Now on the back of the stand, we do have a blaster with a blaster arm on the back of the stand. So in case you wanted to actually play with your minifigure, you definitely can do that. That kind of enables the 12 and older function of the set. But going back into what makes the set seem a little bit older is we do have a nice printed plaque to go with it, and it tells us all of this stuff about the single trooper aerial platform and all of that. Pretty unique. Now there is another clip joint right down here. Not exactly sure what that is for, but I'm sure it's for holding something over here, and you know what? I'm not going to worry about it. I don't really care. And guys, that is the full walk around of the Battle Droid and STAP. It is a very face value set. It is very pliable. There is a lot of play function with it, and I want to talk more about that, well, right now in the wrap-up segment, so let's go. So here we are towards the end of the video, and this is where I start to really break down and discuss the things about this set, what I like about it, what I don't like about it, price, etc, etc. And the first thing I want to dive in is why, with my particular video, am I not taking this set apart in the three pieces that you can take it apart. And the three pieces it does come apart into, as I kind of already said, is the Battle Droid, the STAP, and the stand. All three of these things pretty simply comes apart. Pretty simply if you don't have severe OCD. The thing is with this, there is a lot of ball joints. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. There's about 12 ball joints total on this set. And ball joints means you can do 360 up, down, left, right of motion. As long as there's no obstructing Lego plates around the ball joint, that thing can move wherever it can move. And the problem there is control. I don't want it out of control. It took me about 5 minutes, maybe more, of just anal retentive, looking with one eye open and tweaking the legs and getting the angles to the book of how to put him on here and to make him look perfect. I wanted him to look like he's really just straddling that thing and riding it. And I didn't want the left leg to be more up on the thigh than the right leg. I didn't want it to be with his pelvis, twisted sideways. And I'm looking at it, and even he still looks like he's twisted. I want him to look perfect, the CGI version on the battlefield in the first movie. That's what I want him to look like. Not just like, hey, I stuck him up there, who gives a crap? It is what it is. So that's why I'm not taking him off of the STAP. I just don't want to take the time to have to readjust his hands, his arms, his legs, his feet, his neck, his head, and getting all of those angles correct. It's too much. Now, what I think I can do for you guys is compromise and show you guys that you can remove the stand from the STAP, and there's those 3 connection points, as you guys can see, between his, legs up his butt. You guys can see where it goes in and how it's all plated in there. So if you do want to be a little bit of a kid and kind of, play with it, you can. I think you can hold it like that. Pretty cool. It's making me nervous to actually do that, so, just going to connect that back in there. And that's my compromise. That's the easy part to take off. It's just getting him to fit back on there. Now, I will give kudos to Lego about this, because at least if you want to and you really like battle droids, which is not me, I don't care much for battle droids. They're just too bland, plain. You can take him off of the STAP, display him separately, have him holding his blaster, whatever you want. And you can pose him to be doing the disco. You can pose him to be doing maybe the Fortnite dance or whatever you want to do. He has that adjustability. So that's really freaking cool from Lego. Usually with 1x type of builds, 1x4 plates, 1x1 plates, 1x pieces in general. Usually those kind of builds kind of annoy me, especially when you're trying to build a figurine, because one bag's a leg, one bag's another leg, one bag's an arm, one bag's another arm. And it can get a little annoying. Building this guy, I can tell you, you don't feel like that. You honestly build the battle droid itself, and you're like, is it over already? I think it was only like 4 bags to actually build the battle droid, and it went by so easily. Now, like I said, there is a lot of really cool techniques with building all of his limbs and stuff, and I really think that contributes to the fun factor of getting him built. But in case you're wondering, is it annoying and repetitive to build a battle droid? Because if you don't like battle droids like me, you don't really want to spend a lot of time building one. It's not. It's actually quite fun. The stickers are not bad. The overall build of it is pretty good. Now, going into the STAP itself. Now the STAP is another pretty okay build. So you got an okay build with the Battle Droid, that's, pretty fun, posable. Then you go into the STAP, and now the STAP doesn't really do anything other than just be there. Now I do think it's really cool that we get a full size, basically, a detailed Greebolt, whatever you want to call it, model of a STAP. Usually when I see STAPs floating around in my collection, they're kind of like what's on this base down here, and it's kind of like, okay, I get it, it's a STAP. I can look over here and probably point out a few of them with all my Lego sets. But with this set, you finally get to build a detailed STAP. Now, is it necessary? Yeah, it's kind of a why not part of the collection. It does look really cool, and it is something that's relatively different to see. Again, like I said with the prequel eras, these movies were mostly computer generated imaging, CGI, and so bringing a lot of these things into actual physical models is always kind of a trip because they are rather monotone and bland. But I do think Lego did a good job on making a lot of detail with the STAP and bringing it to life, and I actually do like it a lot. The building experience of the STAP was not bad. The only thing bad about building the STAP itself was the dark reddish brown brick. There's so much of it, and it's not bad because of the color, it's bad because things start to blend. So when you're trying to build something that's basically, 2 or 3 studs down the middle, I'd say about a single with plates, down the middle, what side's left, what side's right, what's up, what's down, and if you're not in a brightly lit room, which I was building this in my living room, which is not brightly lit, you kind of start putting things on backwards, like your thrusters, your side pieces here, your foot pedals. You start to put things together backwards. That's causing you to be like, okay, it's not working. Why is it not lining up? Oh, shit, I'm backwards. So then you kind of got to go back and, backtrack and start flipping things back around the other way, and then you figure it out. So that is one thing about building the STAP with all of that dark reddish brown brick is you might find yourself going forward in reverse. Now, overall, I think it's another pretty decent build. I can't say it enough. In the movies, it's bland, it's monotone, it doesn't have a lot of richness. I don't think they ever really intended this to ever be a actual, passable, real thing. And I think Lego did a really good job as a whole to actually bring it into the real world in a Lego set. I have no regrets about buying this set. I am really happy with it. I think it kind of is the gateway to get the K2SO droid, which is from the Rogue One and Andor TV series. I wasn't going to originally buy that one because I kind of don't want to be buying a bunch of droids, but you know what? I did it with this one. Now I'm also going to do it with that one. We'll talk more about that in the next video where we go over everything we're doing in August. So $140 for this guy. It is pretty cool. I do feel like maybe 140 is a little high for how simplistic it is. This is no more than I would say, I watched 2 rock concerts on YouTube and a 1-hour car video. So it is about a 3.5 hour build. It is an afternoon build for 140 bucks. You kind of got to figure that in. I think the stand is cool. I don't know why they wanted to give us, accessories to go with our minifigure. I'm really not going to be playing with this droid minifigure. I don't like these, like I've said 100 times, but I do get why it's there because, it is a 12 and older set and they want kids to feel like they can play with this. And I do think it is a perfect set that kids can play with. A lot better than other, under 18 and older buildable figures that we've gotten in the past, such as BB-8 and my Yoda back here and Grogu. Because once these guys are built, they really don't have a lot of functions other than just a few little tricks. This one, I think a kid can have a lot of fun with this. That's all I really have to say about this set. Buy it at your own judgment. It's definitely not a bad addition to the collection. It is different, and I do like it for that reason. So if you guys enjoyed this video, please consider hitting the subscribe button to follow along with everything that we do here. As usual, share the video with a friend, hit the thumbs up, the like button, drop your comments down below. What do you think about the buildable droid with STAP? And up next on the YouTube channel, like I said, we have to talk about August. We have a typical Lego August wave of hundreds of sets. We're only going to be able to cover at least 40 of them in that video, and I cannot wait to go over all of that and share some things about my personal life of how things have been for the last month in that video. So I hope you guys check out that video of what's to come in August, and I'll see you then. Thank you so much for watching. Y'all have a good one.